Hey guys, my name's Reed, and you're on my personal blog channel. I want to talk about a couple things that were on my mind. The first is a little bit about something I'm doing to kind of enhance my experiences out in the world, and it is using the Facebook events creation and also a website called Meetup, which has been a real helpful resource for me. I'm not somebody who's religious, and I know there's a lot of other people who are maybe not participating in a active religion or not religious or whatever, who don't get the same kind of support from the local community as you might as if you were in a church or in some kind of participating association like you were as a kid, probably with Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or whatever, or just going to school even. So I'm kind of fortunate in a sense because I do go to a college. Right now, I'm a non-traditional student by choice, and taking some entrepreneurship classes, and it's been pretty enriching. And I've been taking an active lead in getting some groups together outside of the normal class times, and it's been a good thing for me. And I just wanted to encourage that to other people who are looking for some more enrichment or want to get together people with a similar interest. I'm also interested in media, so I got together some meetup groups about film. Excuse me. And that was good, and it's a good way to get some business cards and create some new groups through Facebook. Um, but where this comes from is, I'll tell you a story. I was on a jog the other night through our area, and I passed under this bridge where we have a bat community, and I've done some other videos on other channels, kind of showing that off. But an interesting thing happened when I was taking my parents out to see it back around Christmas. We went out and about 7 o'clock, I think it was, when it started getting dark. It might have been a little earlier. And the bats didn't come out that night, and it was kind of an unusual thing because every other time I've taken someone out to go see the bats, they always come out. It's never been an issue before. So it was kind of astounding to me that they didn't come out. And it's not like 10 came out or 1,000 or 2,000. It's all or nothing. And there's 200,000 plus bats under this bridge. So when they do come out, it's spectacular. You have this formation, this cloud that's moving as one unit. And, it's kind of captivating, I guess you can say. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos on YouTube of the starlings that move in kind of a blob and change shapes, but it's the same sort of thing with these bats. So it got me thinking. Why is it that some nights the bats don't come out at all, not even one, and then the other nights you have 200,000 plus bats streaming out, and they all decide to participate in this activity. And upon thinking this, I was wondering: is it the one or two bats that start? Is there a leader? Who sets the agenda initially? When what bat is it that decides and puts out the call that tonight's the night they're going out, and gets up and flaps his wings and incites the other bats around him to do the same thing? Because when that happens, they get their neighbors up and the agenda's set. It's time to go out. Everybody's going to go out and eat bugs tonight. So the entire colony is active, and they all start swarming under the bridge, and the next thing you know, you have this procession of bats that's like a black mass. And it's just interesting with the agenda is set, and it's so powerful that it's all or nothing. And I feel like as people who are outliers in a sense, are not part of a dominant culture, especially in America. Now, if you're watching us in Europe, I think it's a little bit different there. It sounds like it's a little more secular in other places in the world, but especially here in America, we're kind of not the norm. And I think that we need to be more proactive, and we need to be the bats to set the agenda for the ones around us, so we can start getting more a bigger following to come out of the cave with us. And if we can do that and set a new standard, maybe we can get everybody out of the cave and everybody flying out on nights to go do our thing. And so maybe we need to create a new norm for us in society. Maybe we need to have a place we meet up regularly, and we do things as a secular community or as a whatever you are. I know there's people who um, have all different kinds of interests, and maybe you feel like you're not involved in the arts because you don't know other people who are visual artists, or maybe you're a photographer and you don't know other photographers because you just don't have a community that meets up every Sunday morning to do photography, but that would be something you'd like to do. So check out the events on Facebook and check out meetup.com because I think through those resources, if you choose to, and I would encourage you to, you can make a difference in your own life and you can be the leader of that. And before, I was more the type of person that wouldn't really always, set the events up. I would join the events. I was a joiner in a sense. I would definitely go to something that somebody else had initiated, but I wasn't the type of person to really say, I'm going to do this for me, and I want other people to come with me. And I had, I mean, somewhat I had. For social stuff, I would say occasionally, let's go out to a bar or something, but for other things, not so much, and I'm changing that. So, and it's been beneficial so far, and I'm going to continue to do it, and I would encourage you to look into it too. So, what else? Um, been having some tooth problems. It's just kind of a personal thing. I've unfortunately we live in a country here in America where we don't have a healthcare system that is able to afford people who on a lesser income or at school and stuff the ability to get some problems fixed. And I had some crowns put in a while back when I was working in 2010 that were defaulty and defective, and they broke and fell out. And I went back to the dentist, and he's, of course, not going to give me my money back. And he was even arguing with me about if I, had any right to talk to him about it. And then I pointed out I'd only had the crowd for 2 or 3 months, and then he's like, okay, well, I'll pull the teeth free of charge, which I think is bullshit. I think he should have replaced the whole tooth, the whole crown. But unfortunately, it was cracked down the middle, and he said there's nothing that can be done. The only thing we can do is extract the tooth, and I don't want the tooth to be pulled because if I do that, I have to um, get an artificial tooth in, and that costs $2,000, and that's $2,000 that comes out of my pocket because I don't have money for insurance right now. I'm not gonna up for insurance when I can hardly, afford bills and food and everything else I need for school. So it finally got infected again tonight, and so I was feeling a little bit of pain. I'll probably take a couple painkillers, but no, I guess this is part of the price you pay in America if you want to be a non-traditional student. You've been working, you want to change your career path. You know, not having health care in this country is a kind of an obstruction, and just the way that the financial system's set up. I think if there's any other non-traditional students out there, you know this too. You work full time. I was a manager in 2010, and I went back into school voluntarily. I quit my job to do school because of the federal assistance I could get, and found out the hard way that you have your income based on what you made the year before. So, and the only way you would be entitled to money is if you were fired from your job. Well, I wasn't fired from my job, so you're penalized basically for not being a fuck up and quitting your job responsibly and wanting to go further your education. Okay, had a little money saved up, but didn't go very far, and so now I'm kind of in a situation where um, it's been almost a year and a half, and I'm definitely getting low on funds, and I'm having to be very creative about how I come up with my financial situation because my part-time job is certainly not paying my bills. I'm below what I need to be at, and any contract work I have is very scarce at best with the time I have allotted for. Um, what I have found though is now that I've been through this last year, that my income for the coming year should be based off that. And since I worked very little, I think I have a good shot of getting more assistance in the future. But I still have to etch out the entire summer and the months up until then, and that's going to be a challenge, I think. So, trying to be frugal, but things like this, having an infected tooth or possibly infected, we'll see how it feels tomorrow. And then just the dwindling money situation makes it very challenging. And I hope someday they do something about that, or there is some more concessions made for people who would like to go back to school or didn't get a chance. This is not like a continuing education for me. It's my first bachelor's degree. So anyway, just something to think about. If you're in a similar situation, I certainly understand. I'm there with you. If you're having challenges and financial issues or medical issues, and I know that just people out there in different situations, this is very relevant to as well, who just don't have the financial means to take care of their medical needs, and you probably can't afford insurance and whatnot. And I'm kind of blown away that we're the only country in the civilized world that doesn't have a healthcare system that's for everybody. I know my dad and my mom both have issues that they would very much benefit from a national healthcare system, and they paid taxes all their life. They both worked for the government at a time in their lives too, doing social work for the government, and now they're at an old age and they're both literally falling apart. Um, they both have health problems that are pretty serious. One of them had cancer, and the other one has lots of problems internally too. I don't want to get into all the specifics, but even partial blindness, and they can't rely on healthcare. They've been tax-paying citizens their entire life, and the 2008 stock market kind of killed them. Where one of my parents would have been very well off. The other one's kind of struggled off and on, but they've done their duty here in the United States, and they've been federal employees, and they've paid their Social Security taxes, and I paid my Social Security too. Um, and I doubt I'll ever see a penny of it. And I don't think asking for a basic healthcare service for things like broken teeth for a student is asking too much. And when I get out of school, I'll probably make decent money. I'll probably get a entrepreneur business or something like that, as long as I make it from here to there. And then it won't be such an issue. But I'm not going to forget this time. I'm going to remember the time that I was in college with broken teeth in my head, and my parents and the people I knew who needed health care. And I'm not going to be one of the people who change my stance on how I feel about a national health care system in the future if I end up being uh, a person who makes more money. I think that's what happens to a lot of people is, they get into a different place in life, and then they kind of forget the struggles I had and what the other people out there have to go through. And there's a lot of people out there who have to go through a lot worse than I do, and I recognize that too. So that's one of the reasons why I'm liberal. I think when you go through a little bit more difficulty in your life, it's a lot easier to appreciate that, and I've been there. Anyway, guys, I probably should get some sleep. I got to work tomorrow, and I also have some homework to work on. Working on a business plan right now for my entrepreneurship class, which is fulfilling and rewarding, but it's also a whole lot of work, a lot of thought that goes into it in places that I hadn't really put my time and effort into. So thank you for being here. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I hope you like my new camera I bought. I replaced my old infrared one, so I didn't have yellow eyes and yellow teeth, and I actually had software that would work and be somewhat reliable. So it's my little $27. This is a Rosewill camera from the internet, because of just the economics of it. It's $27 versus $100 essentially for a better camera. Um, Interesting times we live in, where you want to support the small guy, but you end up supporting the big guy because of the economics, and that's kind of the madness of our world, the method of these big corporate conglomerates who just swallow up small businesses because they can. There's so many of the people like me out there who are just barely making it, or in school, or having struggles for whatever the reason is. Maybe you've been in the emergency room and you've lost everything you basically have worked your life for because you had a heart attack or you had a whatever. That's day-to-day reality here in the United States. There's tons of people out there who that's happened to, and they've been wiped out because of some medical issue, or just because they wanted to further their education, like me. and these big companies are making money off us, because we can't afford to go to the small guy. Anyway, that's enough of my bitching and moaning. Thanks for being here, and come back and visit soon. Bye.